Welcome, Ian. Welcome. Wow.
Rock stars.
George just said dark side rock stars, but because of your reception. Thank you.
What a wonderfully sinister reunion we have here. It's fantastic to see you both.
Thank you, our worst.
It's really good to see you guys.
So, Ian, George created for you some deliciously evil scenes.
Yes.
Do you have a favourite?
Of all the deliciously evil scenes, and there are many, in fact, I can't think there is one scene that isn't deliciously evil. The one that stands out for me is in Revenge of the Sith, and that's when we all get to go to the opera. George will remember that he wrote that scene originally in another office, and I kept getting bigger and bigger offices all the time as I got more and more powerful, because you know that's what happens. And then he said, no, I think we should go somewhere else for a change. So we went to a theatre, and the reason I like doing that so much, because I'm a theatre actor too, but more than that, Hayden and I could really sit down and, from my point of view anyway, have an evil chat. And I think, George, you correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's one of the longest dialogue scenes in the whole of the saga. And I was allowed to tell a story, you know, and really connect. So that was exciting too.
Fabulous, fabulous. Hayden, tell us what it was like working with Ian, a hugely experienced actor. Were you intimidated at all?
Oh, working with Ian was just a real treat and a privilege. I mean, everyone knows that he's such an amazing actor, but he's also an incredibly generous actor, and really kind of took me under his wing and was just very caring and giving, and I owe a lot of what I was able to accomplish in episode 3 to being able to work with Ian. You know, that scene that he's talking about was one of my favorites, and I remember just being so enraptured with the story that he was telling that I almost forgot that I was acting in the scene. I was like, oh no, I got to do my part now too. But it was you know, he's so captivating in his work, and it was amazing.
Well, it's a truism that older actors learn from younger actors too, and working with him was a great learning experience.
I'll just say, the one testament to Ian's acting and how great he is he's the nicest, loveliest, kindest, sweetest guy in the world. He is nothing at all like the Emperor.
Yes, well, maybe occasionally.
So Hayden, not only did you deliver a brilliant acting performance, but also your lightsaber battle at the end of Revenge of the Sith was epic. Can you tell us a little bit about your stunt training for that final battle?
Yeah, sure, of course. I mean, all of the lightsaber work was some of my favorite parts of getting to play this character and be a part of the Star Wars world. You know, it was just a childhood dream come true. But I will share with you one of my challenges. You know, I had sort of been conditioned from a very young age to make the sound effect when I'm swinging a lightsaber. And, you know, I know this is something that Ewan maybe struggled with a little bit too, but it was a difficult habit to break. And I remember on a couple of occasions, George, you would come over after we had filmed a fight scene, and, you know, in a very encouraging way, you would say, hey, you know, looks really great, but I can see your mouth moving, and, you know, you don't have to do that. We add the sound effects in afterwards, and I was just so focused, I wasn't even aware I was doing it, but, you know, still to this day, I pick up a lightsaber and I can't help it. Wow, it just happens. So. Wow.
And these guys, These guys, Ewan and Hayden, were so brilliant at it, and they practiced every morning. And I used to occasionally see them when I popped in to practice a little. But the extraordinary thing about was, well, every time we did the takes, there must have been about 20, probably more, they did the whole sequence, which was absolutely extraordinary. And when you see it in the movie, it's terrific, but necessarily it's edited and split up. And I used to say they should take their sabers, both of them, and get on the road to show how brilliant fighters they really were.
Now, Ian, tell us about your first meeting with George and how he described this character to you.
Oh, yeah. Well, he didn't. George doesn't go in for lengthy explanations, which is great. We met very briefly over lunchtime with Richard Marquand. This is, of course, Return of the Jedi. And I was very pleased to meet them both, thrilled, of course. And then we said our polite goodbyes, and I went back home, and the phone was ringing. My agent said, "You've got the part." I said, "Oh, well, that's great. What's the part?" And he went, agents do, leafing through piles of, papers, and he said, "Oh, apparently he's called the Emperor of the Universe." So I said, "Oh, well, I guess we're doing it then." And from then on, it was makeup, hood, yellow eyes, and the script. And I think most of my information, and most actors would agree about this, came from the script. Although George was always around and very helpful, but of course he wasn't specifically directing that movie. That was Richard. And of course I got to go on doing it. And when we met again before the prequels, George was there wearing a very similar shirt to the one he's wearing today. And he said, "Oh, can we get you a drink?" I said, "Well, I'll just tell." No, it's just been, coffee, water. I said, "I'll have the water." And then he said, "Do you know anybody who wants to play an emperor?" So I said, yeah, that's me. And that was the audition for the prequels. And then he said, there are two characters. The character you would play in this is Palpatine, of course, and he's a hypocritical politician. We've all got to start somewhere. And but there's this other character, and he didn't tell me the name, who's in the background. He does this and he does that. And I thought, I'd really like to have played that other character. And then I got the script and I realized I was playing both of them. And so did you eventually, apparently.
George, isn't there a story you were particularly taken with Ian's nose, though?
Oh. Well,
you liked his, look at his profile now, it's quite amazing.
I think you deny this. When we left that very short and agreeable meeting, in the doorway, you said, "Hey, great nose." and I thought, oh, wow, maybe that means I'm going to get somewhere.
Are you sure? I don't remember doing that.
Yeah, you did.
Fantastic. Well, thank you both for being so brilliant here today. And
great. Good to see you all.
For your contribution to Star Wars, ladies and gentlemen, Ian Mcdiarmid and Hayden Christensen.